The two basic, most established types of devices are the phones and the notebooks in this space. So if we look at the phones and the notebooks, it spells growth. If you look at the handhelds, there were 750 million sold in 2006. The expectation is by 2012 there will be over 2 billion of them sold that year. If you look at notebooks started, but in 2006 there were about 80 million units sold. The expectation is that by 2012 there will be about 290 million, which is well over 3x over this period. And Gartner, who's using this projection, every time they look at actual data, they just ratchet it up, not down. So obviously those two staples are strong with a lot of growth, a lot of headroom. But that actually does not tell you part of the real big story that is happening in this space. In order to understand this, we go back a little bit again to 2003. In 2003, there were two spaces with a gap in between. At the high end, you had smart and flexible devices. You had notebooks, PCs, and devices that had 3 gigahertz, operated at 35 watt, 70 watt, great with a lot of software. At the low end, you had devices running with 200 megahertz, 1 watt, and many of them, the software was very vertical for the device. In between them, more than an order of magnitude of gap. What has happened is that now there's a range of devices. Rather than having a gap, actually we have a whole spectrum of devices that covers this. The gap is gone. And even though the notebooks are going, and you saw some of the numbers going great, and the simple C devices are going great, you have a new space in the middle. So before I dive into the space, let me just show, this is an example of a notebook. This is something that was launched just 2 days ago on Monday. This is a new Centrino 2 processor with the Core 2 Duo processor technology inside. So this was just launched in San Francisco on Monday. And those new devices, they have tremendous innovation in them as well. You have stunning visual computing that you can see. You can see playback, a full high-definition movie. You have power management technologies that are doing the same work with 25 watt that in the past used to take 35 and more through some of the new technologies. And so a lot of growth in the space. And this will continue. But if you go back to that chart, you see that underneath that, now there's a new space that inherited from both sides. It inherited some of the compute power and the flexibility, the programmability from the PC space, the notebook space, and it inherited the lightweight and the simplicity from the CE. And those devices are the ones that are starting now with the volume, and this is where you see the 10x effects. This is where you see those devices that combine both the power, the intelligence, the computational power, as well as the light and the simplicity to create very exciting devices. And this is something that we see a lot of today, and by the end of those 5 years, you'll see even more. And I want to just talk about a couple of those here. Some of them you're familiar with, but I'd like to talk about a couple of those. One of them is a netbook. And a netbook is a new category, a new class that Intel is leading of affordable, easy-to-use devices. And there's a netbook, and there's a nettop for the desktop equivalent. And those simple devices are focused around internet usage modes. So there's a range of usages that you can see, some of them there on the slide, actually, if you look at it. Things like browsing, watching movies from the internet, education, social networking. All those usage modes can be very well accommodated by the netbook. And the expectation is, because it has this combination of functionality and capability and cost, that it is a great market opportunity. This is one of those things that enables the next big wave of usage and new markets. Another category, which is also somewhat recent, is the mobile internet devices. Now, if you look at phones, phones are primarily voice devices that also can do internet. And this is very good and important. It's growing quickly. But there are also a category of devices in various sizes that are built for the internet. Those devices are around the internet usage mode. So they can do all the performance things that are required for a good experience, such as web uploading, high-definition video, 3D graphics, but they do it for the complete internet, which means that everything that you expect to see on a notebook, you expect to see here. All the plugins need to work, all the codecs, everything. You should have the same experience, only that you can have it in your pocket. So those pocketable devices that will come in various forms are going to provide the best internet experience, but provided in your pocket. If you take this phenomenon and you look at those devices as they become small, you start to think beyond just the device itself. The experience becomes a combination of the device itself and things that are going to start to appear in the environment. So how does that device interact with other devices in the environment to really allow you to do what we call carry small and live large? Meaning that your experience is driven with a mobile device, but it's much broader. For example, even though you have a small device with you, you can project the content from this device on a wireless docking, on a large wireless display, on a gaming with 3 devices. So you're not limited really by the device to your experience. You can get inputs from many other devices, either wireless devices or maybe other devices in the environment. Think about an airport or a mall. There are so many things that are relevant just in that particular environment. There's a lot of information that's in that particular environment. What we see starting to happen is that there are going to be a lot of stationary devices that are going to interact with your mobile device to give you the best experience, the best information, the best experience. So the mobile revolution is not driving only the mobile volume and the mobile devices, but a whole system of connected devices that create the experience.